Already connected?
Because like, look, you can like do this, and then it's like boom, all the tabs for that one. You can do the whole thing.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, you're up. We're on the air. Hi, welcome to the
April 5th, 2023, Planning Board, Kennebunkport Planning Board. And so first is the attendance, and look at this, we have a full house. Everybody's here. So you guys don't get to vote, I'm sorry.
Well, let's go.
Although maybe on the minutes, because I wasn't here at the last meeting.
Right.
We'll go to Allison's and have a sub-meeting.
Anyway, so that's the attendance. The minutes is, there was, I guess Larry had a slight revision to the minutes.
I just
He
added,
adopted it.
I just added a couple of sentences for completeness, that's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So I
she
moved,
she reissued it already.
Yep.
So that's
So-
the version that we'll be voting on here. Anybody have a motion?
so I'll move to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second.
Okay. Well, let me just start with Ed. Ed is in favor.
Yes.
In favor?
Tom is in favor.
Scott's in favor.
In favor?
All right, so that's it. Okay, oh, I shouldn't have voted though, but, anyway, I wasn't there. So but I did watch it. But Mike is voting in favor, so, okay. Sorry about that. The first item is item 230202, 45 Ocean Ave. Bruce Reed is the agent, and, this will eventually be a public hearing, but let's give a brief description of what's going on and what you've done since, because you have submitted additional stuff to us.
I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Bruce Reed representing the applicant here. We're expecting the owner's rep to show up here. Is Joe here yet? We may have an additional party to offer some thoughts about the owner, who some of you may know, the current owner. She's getting ready to retire, and he will have a few words to say. At the last meeting, we had some back and forth. You were asking for a little better plan. I hope I've produced that now. Am I okay where I'm standing here in terms of, can the camera pick up both of these exhibits? Yes. Okay,
Right.
and you can
You
see
should
me.
have to carry the mic with you, though.
Oh, that's right. It's a good tip. So I will. And is it on? Yeah, you're gonna talk, it'll come out. Up, down? Got it. There you go.
Rip.
So at the last meeting, we were talking about the lack of an adequate plan, and we have now taken, and I hope this is visible, did you all receive the email and were you able to open that in a PDF format? I struggled a little bit getting a PDF that you could actually, it wasn't blurry, and I finally did get one, so, and that's what this is a reproduction of, the printed version of. So we have the lot lines here. We, as a group, and you can see we have, I don't know, maybe 10 people here with us, but only 2 are my clients. The applicants are, of course, the wine. Lonnie Dietz is the only one really before you as an applicant. She's taking her wine and cheese shop from across the bridge here. But Laura McCullough, her partner, is also here. She will be occupying this side of the building. And you would ask that we show all the retail space, which we're now doing. And maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, right after the last meeting, we all drove the largest vehicles we could muster down to the site and parked them on the lot in the appropriate parking spots that we thought would be appropriate uses of parking. And these photographs show, this flips over, so I'll do that in a minute. But this photograph shows the site distances. And in the letter that I submitted, I was genuine when I was hoping that the board could actually drive by or drive in to the site, and I hope maybe you've had a chance to do that. I personally had not been on the site in quite a while, maybe since driving into the Arundel Wharf at some point. I was actually surprised myself. There is a fair amount of elbow room, in my opinion, there. But we anyway went and took photographs. Here we go toward down Ocean Avenue toward the ocean. This is the other direction, showing pretty clean site distances, in my opinion. And here are some of the cars that are parked right as you enter. We can fit, we've got 5 cars here. We have 2 more here, which is in the island, which is closest to the street. And then there are 2 more along the side of the building, making for a total of 9 relatively comfortable large car parking. And we're proposing, we discussed traffic flow here, that seemed to be the major concern of the board. And we're proposing to put a sign in here, enter and exit, so you have a flow of traffic and you don't have people inadvertently coming in and meeting each other perhaps as they come in to visit. So you had also asked for Lonnie's certificate of good standing, just to know that her corporation across the bridge is in good standing, and I submitted that. She is. I also, as a matter of housekeeping, gave you an amendment to the purchase and sale agreement indicating that the two individual women are the purchasers now. They will probably form an LLC before they actually buy, but that was a legal matter that I wanted to clean up. So we feel as though we've got a pretty good plan here. We're obviously open to, this is going to be a public hearing shortly, but open to questions or comments the board may have ahead of time. I can also turn this, let me turn this over.
Bruce, Joe is here.
Hey, Joe. Hey. I'll let you speak in a minute. If you don't mind, it's up to the board as to when you might want to. Do you want to speak during the public hearing, or would you rather him offer his thoughts now?
No.
Either way.
Whatever. Can I ask a question first?
Sure.
I think one of the things I asked you for were dimensions, and I could not read dimensions. I think you may have put some in there, but I couldn't read them off the plan.
Yes, they're here. We have 100 feet on the back, and it's 42 plus 111, so that comes out to 143 feet on the front. It is, I agree, it's hard to read, especially on the smaller one. The PDF, you can hit the plus button and blow it up on your computer, but this does show 100 in the back, 143 roughly in the front along Ocean Avenue.
Well, what I'm most interested in is from the entrance there to the edge of the property on the right of
Yep.
the diagram.
Yep.
Do you have a dimension there?
Well, we have 41.1 to here. That's the edge of the island.
Okay.
And that would show in a couple of these photographs also right here. That's the end of a car there. And that would be right here. That's that car right there. So if that helps, 42 feet to here to there.
Okay.
And I just, for the record, I just turned over that poster board and showed some additional photographs. If you want me to turn it back, we tried to get up and down Ocean Avenue, side of the building, along each boundary, so.
Yeah. Well, the photograph you have shows 5 cars parking there, and if you'll notice, the dark-colored one is in front of the doors and a little bit back, because I know there's an obstruction there. I guess I just want to reiterate, I think you have, if you're going to have designated parking that's going to fit 5 cars, you have to designate those spaces. You have to put something down that designates where the cars park, otherwise you will barely have enough for 2 or 3. So something like a curbstone to indicate a space, another curbstone and so forth in the back.
Because I guess when I looked at it, it's gravel, right? It's not a pave, so you can't paint it,
Correct.
No.
right?
Yeah, so
But
something like she's-
you could, instead of having a raised stone, you could have a buried concrete one, so you'd end up with that you're not gonna run over.
Yep.
Either that, or the other thing I was thinking, if you have signs posted at the end,
Yeah. that
you
would
know, I sat there and I walked around trying to figure out, and that was the only thing I could come up with, is something that you could put in the gravel, you know, just paving stones or whatever, or something at the end to give the visual indication that you drive in, because it was gravel and there's, you know, no way you can paint or keep that for more than a day.
Yeah. That's something you're okay with? Yeah. Yep.
And then that would, just like you said, people would tend to park in the right place.
The
And
easiest
you
place.
could get more people in, and it would be easier for everybody.
A sign is good because we might actually get snow again sometime.
Really? Snow?
Yeah, signs help a lot.
Like tonight, yeah. Well, I would agree, if we're gonna put signs up in the front, enter and exit, maybe it makes sense to have a common scheme. The same sign maker could make all the signs for parking and parking spots as well. So you're concerned mostly with the, sounds like this side of the property. These two are right up against the building, it makes perfect sense, they're probably employee parking right there.
Oh, I didn't even notice those ones.
I guess another question I have is, are you required to have a designated handicap spot?
Not for that.
I mean, that's something as part of this review, you know,
Okay,
not for this change of use.
okay.
Bruce,
Yep.
first of all, I want to thank you. This depiction by the Google Maps and the tradesman is fantastic. So in this, you've got 5 on the north side,
Yep.
and you got 2 in front. So there's 7. Now, the 2 on the southwest side, I believe southwest.
Yeah, you're
Along the
right.
building.
No, I think you're right, might be a little east in there, but
So
yeah,
just
south.
for confirmation, that is not their property. Am I accurate in that? That is,
You are not accurate. That is their property. They do own it. They own all the way to the edge here. Is that what you're talking about?
yes, I thought that, that another owner had given you permission to use that, that back driveway to the Arundel
That's the
Wharf.
other side, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an easement, and Joe might be able to speak to this better than I, but I haven't done the deed title search yet, but I've seen the deed. And the deed has, we own this, what's shown here in the perimeter, we own that, we will own that. There's a 15-foot easement here that accesses the Arundel Wharf. And there's apparently been, now, one of the, you guys have had conversations with Bob Williamson, who owns the Arundel Wharf. There's a handshake agreement with him. We own the property. We own the fee. But there is an easement over it on this part. That's why we didn't show parking here, because there is, I mean, we do own it. We can't block it, but it's, I guess the handshake has been, we'll park cars here or use this area, and you guys stay over here. But we could, that's not something that's in writing. We have the right, we do own that land.
By deed?
Yes, yep,
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary then.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
No, you're right.
Thanks
No,
for the
you're welcome.
clarification.
Thank you for, you can thank Lonnie's brother-in-law, yeah, for his work on the Google Earth stuff.
So you, looks like legitimately have 9.
Yeah. With elbow room. I mean, those all were big vehicles, but I think based on what we're talking about here, I think it makes sense to mark 5 with signage and maybe something on the ground.
Right.
As you say, in case there's snow or other things, and maybe even employee parking marks back there as well. That's easy stuff to do.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Would you like to hear from the owners, Ralph?
Not unless they want to speak. I don't have any questions for them.
No questions.
Well, he's dying to speak.
I don't sense that.
No, I'm kidding, it's okay. He said he wanted to, and I wanted to offer him that, so thanks for, that's fine.
Can I chime in on the parking? Again, as Scott said, I thought this was a terrific response to our somewhat vague request. So
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
No,
for-
that was
for
a
the
legitimate
thoughtful
request.
and
That's what you're here
careful.
for.
No, I thought it was an important one, and let me reiterate what I tried to say last time was that my concern wasn't so much for how many spaces you have. I think we have agreed that it is a grandfathered situation, and my major concern is for safety. And when I went and took your advice and drove the site and brought my wife over and, you know, looked at it and all, my counsel, she, there aren't signs there now for entrance and exit. And if you think about, you know, if you do have a fantastic sale and people are teeming to the new grand opening and all. It is a two-way street, and people would be, I think, naturally unclear about where to enter and where to exit from. So I just want to reiterate that I thank whoever provided the previous findings of fact from 2009, that board had the same concern, and Mr. Kling, David Kling, who was the chair, I believe, at that time, said, I'll just read the findings. Mr. Kling stated that if this application is approved, he asks that the finding of fact reference the parking plan to include placing entrance and exit signs at each end of the parking lot. So even at that time, it was recognized that this was a problem. Now, whether that ever happened and then they disappeared, I can't say, but I do think it's important, and it's the only safety concern I have. I'd like it to go into the findings, because I think, should you ever have a problem there, and for some reason those signs are removed, I mean, the code enforcement office isn't gonna come checking whether your signs are there or not. They're not in the business of enforcing these findings, but I do think it should be on the record that this board looked at it and you agreed
Yeah, no,
to
we're prepared.
put those signs there. And I think it's just a protection, and it's good citizenship. So, appreciate that.
Yeah, I was expecting that would be a condition of approval, so that's fine.
I don't even know if it needs to be a condition, but rather it should be a statement that we had this discussion and that agreement was made.
All good.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So, I guess I'll open up the public hearing, and if the owner wishes to speak also, if anybody wishes to speak here, please do. Don't all speak at once.
That was Joe's big chance.
Forever held his peace.
Kidding.
Everyone online?
So, is there anyone online want to speak?
There are 2 Zoom attendees, nobody has their hand up.
Okay,
David James.
well, then I'm going to close the public hearing. And, thank you.
May I move that we approve this application?
Please do. So moved, okay.
I'll second that.
All right, I'll go down the line.
I agree.
Approve.
Approve?
Approve.
Approve.
Okay. I think we have some editing of the finding of facts to do
Yes,
what was suggested, so we'll read them next time.
yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just, the findings will be signed. They're looking at financing and trying to close within certain deadlines. So the findings will be, would it be at your next meeting?
The next meeting, the
Okay.
findings will be ready and signed at the next meeting,
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
And those will be circulated publicly ahead of time? No? Is that your practice?
Not necessarily to you, but we can do that, I think.
Usually,
That's-
it usually comes to us as staff.
Yeah. And is that available? I just,
If you want to reach out to us,
Yeah.
if we have a draft, I'm happy to share what the
might
draft looks like.
help. 'Cause are you on a 2-week schedule from now? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have to be here. for the
That's what I
reading.
was thinking. Wouldn't have
Yeah.
to,
No, you don't, it just,
yeah.
we sign it, it gets notarized, and
And then you
then you have to
record
record it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck with the new business.
Good luck.
Look forward to shopping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
should be a great place.
Yeah.
We're
May your
right
parking
across-
lot always be full.
We're about 300 feet away from it, so it's great.
Yeah, you can send them business, Scott.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, my wife will be over there every other day, probably.
I'll just say that this approval for the change of use will mean a lot to Judy, the seller of the property, who's getting older, and this will hopefully secure her move down to Florida and her long-term health. So on behalf of Judy, she appreciates it.
You're here.
Very good.
Okay,
Small town life.
thank you.
Some more tech
Oh.
for Kennebunkport.
All righty, so, Ed, you have a finding of facts ready.
Yes, I do.
Move that to the end.
Certainly.
Let,
Good idea.
let Mr. Logan come up with item number 3 on the
Switching the order,
well, yeah, just. I
You
mean,
can hang around.
You can spend
Hang
your-
around if you like.
You want to hang out while we read it? You're welcome.
I
to.
feel there's
Good reading.
there should be music, there should be music for this one,
Usually
shouldn't
does.
there? The long and winding road.
So, anyway, this is
Sketch
item
plan.
230301, the 47, the long and winding road,
Sketch
Longview Partners. So Mr. Logan is going to,
Thank you, board members. Thank you,
Oh, really?
Chairman. Yes, I'm here tonight, and I appreciate your attention. I'm here tonight with Sarah and her daughter, Margot, Sarah Smith, who owns and has owned this lot for many, many years. This is part of what was the Trumbull Division of Land. And in the past, we've had some challenges with old subdivision plans that were not well named. You might remember the
Yes.
the one we did over at Rocking Horse Stables, where we fumbled a little bit because the original subdivision didn't have a good name. This one is exactly the same thing, not a good name. And I did not yet provide to the board individual copies of this original subdivision plan, but I will have that in the future. I just did obtain this from Dow and Coulomb recently and was able to finally get it to a PDF. I could print it so I could show it to you. We are officially Lot 3 of what was a 4-lot subdivision at the time. I'll give you a little bit of background before I dive into the details of Sarah's lot, but that subdivision in 1984 was approved under the Maine State Wastewater Code that was in existence prior to the major changes we first had in 1995. That was a pretty significant rule change that allowed wastewater systems to go onto land that was considered to be more marginal. We started to recognize, having designed replacement systems for years for existing homes, that with the right engineering, we could design septic systems that would function and provide environmental sanitation and still allow for safe drinking water supplies and no pollution to the water bodies of the state of Maine. So Sarah came to me because this lot is 16, almost 17 acres, and knowing that some things have changed, we're into a much newer time frame. We have a lot of new styles of septic designs. We have many different arrays we can now employ. The tools in our toolbox are much greater than they used to be. Back in '84, no requirement for wetland delineations, hence none was shown. '87 was the year that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers manual for wetland delineation first came out. So these were large lots. I think there were only 4 big ones like this because I think whoever did the septic system work struggled to find 4 suitable septic sites. And Sarah's original house is near a little copse of trees, oak trees, and I think was probably sited on the absolute best of what was out there. Now, it's been in existence since when? 38 years or so, and has been a beautiful house site, and beautiful spot to be. She came to me with the idea of exploring the possibility of making a division so that her daughter could remain in town here and manage to stay a Kennebunkport resident. It's getting harder and harder for the local people to continue to do that. I believe Sarah's idea is to spin off a new lot as this division takes place, and Sarah herself would be building the new house. And I think the plan is for her to scale down a little bit and leave the house cleaning in the bigger house to Margot, who has more energy. So it was our job to go out and map wetlands, because that is part of the requirement in the subdivision ordinance, find septic site, approach the fire chief to discuss things like access with the fire truck. We know there's a new truck, and we need to meet the standards for that radius turnaround. So Sarah was successful in meeting with the fire chief. I do have a letter that the fire chief produced. I will have that also for the next meeting. For tonight and the purposes of this meeting, merely want to show you on paper that we have a valid complying 3-acre lot. Michael Coulombe of Dow and Coulombe has given us the lot area calculations and the dimensions and has provided what we believe is sufficient frontage on the long and winding road frontage of this property, still allowing for adequate frontage for the existing home. So what we're intending to do, and what I didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves with the surveyor, was demonstrating to the board that we've met the standard for the creation of a new lot. I believe Mike Coulombe came down and met with Werner prior to putting that plan together. Also coming back to you in a subsequent meeting, we will have an accurate survey plan, or division plan, I should say, that is more suitable for the board to review and sign eventually, once you've completed your review and you find it to be adequate and are willing to approve the new lot. There might be some questions about the long and winding road. It is a private gravel road. It is 14 feet wide on its travel surface. It has approximately 3-foot shoulders on either side. There is a hydrant out and at a fire pond. This is down a long and winding road. Opposite Gainer's, Bill Gainer's property. So this would be on the right side on the way in. And the fire chief has reviewed that. I believe he feels there's adequate water. He responded to our request for the configuration of the driveway by saying that the Y at the intersection of the new driveway and the long and winding road would be sufficient to meet the turnaround standards that he showed and provided for us. We do intend to still have a turnaround out by the house. That's still, and that's out in an open farm field. So there should be plenty of overswing there if he's needing to turn the truck around by the house. But the one that is the official one for sign-off by the board would be the Y, that is the head of the new driveway as we show it, and the long and winding road intersection, okay? Sarah has told me that the group of people that live on that road invested about $6,500 last year in improvements. It's a well-maintained road. They have good cooperation. You've been involved in, by default, you're looking at the road commish over here, or we'll say the head of the road association. It's important to note that there are no DEP permits required for this. We do have small wetland impact for the driveway, and we show a proposed culvert. Those impacts are less than 4,300. There is no water body in that swale. It is the wetland type that is eligible for the exemption because it's not in the shoreland zone. And it will pass review, at least notification to the Corps of Engineers for the placement of that culvert. So the federal government will get a look at it. We've documented it, that it's under 4,300 square feet. I will clarify for the board that the exemption allowed by the DEP for this type of activity was created in 1995, and that all lots of record that pre-exist 1995 are eligible for that 4,300. So I believe that would apply in this case to a lot that hasn't been changed or dramatically filled or activity since the house was built, next to none. So we would like to utilize that portion of the exemption for the driveway. No other impacts are needed. The house sits up high. The new house would sit up high and proud on a knoll in that field. Way down in the back of the property, there is a blue line stream. We have mapped that, shown that on the plan. That's a 75-foot setback for building construction. That will also be noted on Michael Coulombe's final plan for signature. I think that's all I have. If I've forgotten anything or you have further questions, shoot them.
Okay. Where's I guess up here is the current house, right?
That's correct.
Okay, where is the driveway for that house?
That swings around and comes through this easement. This is it here.
I'm sorry, Tom, would you say again?
I'm sorry.
Where is the current house?
The current house is here. There's a big square there.
The big square.
There it is, I see it.
Big square, looks like a house.
House, deck,
Okay,
okay?
where it says lot,
Exactly. This is the, this would be,
remaining lot 3.
correct, and that's gonna be 12 acres more or less. The driveway is here and swings into the house.
Where's it coming from? Where's?
Long and Winding Road is over here.
Where's the?
I'm
where's the-
sorry, here.
May I ask my question?
Yes.
Where is the street that this is, how do I get to
See
your
here?
house?
Long and Winding Road.
Where does it
Boom.
connect to Route 9? Route-
It's how long of a road, Sarah? It connects to Arundel Road. I don't know the number of
Off
Arundel
the-
Road it's
that's
off
off the
of.
page somewhere.
It is. It's what's a half a mile?
Yeah, it's close to a mile.
A little over a half of a mile back down the gravel road. This is the terminus of the end of that road. For the next meeting, I could certainly bring you a map or a tax map rendition to show where this is in relation to Arundel Road.
That would be good.
I can do that. Let me make a note of that.
I'm just still trying to get oriented.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find a driveway.
If you turn,
Exactly.
you actually have that, Jim. If you go further back behind the deed. Yeah, and it's in your packet.
What's in my packet?
No, not yet.
That shows the relationship he's talking about. That's the topo map, the USGS. That does show enough detail.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Remember this. Where are you?
It's there.
Back behind the deed.
After the deed?
Yeah, but before the thing that's not the deed.
Well, there's this, yeah, this one,
Yeah, that's one.
yeah.
Thank you.
That shows the Arundel Road.
Yeah. Sorry about that all the time.
This is a more accurate rendition of it from the original survey plan. In 1984, it was the Lester Wilds Road. It wasn't even the Arundel Road. Then named the Arundel Road, but this is the right-of-way. That is the Long and Winding Road that comes into Lot 3, right here. And this would be the access for the house. Goes up the left-hand side of the lot. Don't be overly confused if the air photo was a little bit not lined up exactly with our property lines, because
I'm not confused about that.
Good.
I'm confused about your deeds and ownership. I'm having a little trouble going back on the deeds and looking at the deeds you have.
They don't relate.
It looks like the last deed I see, or you can clarify this for me, goes from Sarah Smith to Sarah Smith and Todd Smith, and then from Sarah Smith to Todd Smith, Lot 4. So Lot 3 goes in 2022 from Sarah Smith to Sarah Smith and Todd Smith, and then from Sarah Smith to Todd Smith for Lot 4, and I assume you're talking about Lot 4,
No, we're only referring to Lot 3.
only Lot 3.
We've got no plan for Lot 4. It's a whole
Okay.
separate thing. Please don't be confused.
Where is Lot 4, though?
It's behind this lot
Behind.
and has no house on it.
So you're dividing just Lot 3?
That's the-
You're not making a Lot 4?
No, that was my presentation, and I would assume maybe they'll call it Lot 3A. I don't know what the tax office is going to want to give it for a
But
map and
as
lot.
far as I'm concerned, the deed you shows Sarah Smith granting Sarah Smith and Todd Smith as ownership. Is that
But that's-
correct? Is that
You've
a
got an
husband?
irrelevant deed in here.
Okay,
I probably was over-inclusive and just put two deeds
Lot 3
in.
is the only thing you're dividing.
Correct.
That's the only deed you need to put in.
Correct,
and then
correct.
you've got two owners then? Correct. We need to have two owners sign authorization.
You care to make that?
He's on hospice. And she is power of attorney.
Okay, then I need you to sign with power of attorney. Okay,
Because all that estate planning we did 25 years ago came to bite us in the butt.
Good job.
So I met with Bob Woodman, I said, Bob, we need to fix this, he goes, you're right, Sarah. So
okay.
That's why there was a change.
May I simply amend the agent authorization form that was already in the, okay,
Yeah,
we'll
well,
do
Yes.
that.
You're gonna have an agent authorization in the,
Well, I already have it, but we'll amend it
submit
to
that.
also include this power of attorney
Then I'm not
recognition.
confused. Okay.
The reason I was looking for lot 4 on these drawings, not just on the town's maps, was because I'm trying to understand what the subdivision is. And apparently lot 4 is part of the subdivision. The only reason you're here is
It's
because
to
this is
divide
part.
lot 3. I never mentioned lot 4. I don't understand why it's even a
If all you
concern.
were doing was subdividing one lot, you wouldn't be here at all. You're changing an existing subdivision.
Correct, that's the only reason, and it's a
So
minor one.
I'm looking to understand what that subdivision is, and I don't see it.
I'm gonna give you a copy of this plan. This is a 4-lot. Let me bring it
Okay,
over- let me
okay.
bring it to you.
That's actually been provided to the board, by April.
April already gave
She
me-
provided it to you.
April has this.
So this is on a little 8.5 by 11 on my computer, you're saying?
Bigger on your phone.
Okay.
I mean, Ed, it demonstrates a 4-lot subdivision. I mean,
Yeah.
beyond that, I can give you a big copy. If you want me to run 10 copies like that big plan, I can do that.
No, if I'll go back and,
It's just sometimes April sends
dig
out a
through my
lot of
email.
stuff and
Got a
it
lot of
gets
stuff
missed.
from April.
I don't get it. I
We
mean,
need to have the applicant actually send it out.
So just want to remind folks, this is a sketch.
yeah.
plan.
Thank
Which
you,
is
Warner.
great.
And
Thank you,
so-
Warner.
I'm just trying to
There's not-
explain why I was looking for lot 4. That's all.
We're good for it here, so that.
Yeah.
Yes, which is why I went looking for it in my
Exactly.
package.
That's why it was
Exactly.
It's
confusing.
germane.
And it talks
all-
about
I'm
right-of-ways,
I'm so
and
sorry
the
to
right-of-ways
ca-
aren't in the
Cause this
package.
confusion, but they own the both lots. That's the only reason why the deed ended up in there. Sarah owns the lot behind, the lot 4 too, but that's not the subject of tonight's meeting.
But I didn't know that. and-
Okay.
And it wasn't important to me. I'm just trying to understand why this is before the board and what was the existing subdivision. So we're agreed that the preliminary application will have the original subdivision
Correct.
portrayed.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Absolutely.
Which is
This is exactly the
what the type of
process.
takeaway you need. from
Yeah.
it.
So you're dividing lot 3 into 2 thoughts.
Correct,
Yes.
Okay.
correct. 2 conforming lots.
Then
If-
this should be a major amendment.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna have to be a major, you know that, right?
Yes.
By
Yep.
definition, that's all.
Yep.
I don't, okay.
It's just
I
the way that
I don't
it's
recall that
worded.
occurring with the 4-lot division. That was the Rocking Horse Stable. So maybe
definition.
I
If you're adding a
inadvertently
lot,
did
it's
the
a
minor.
major.
Well, all it means is that you go through prelim and then you do a final as well.
I understood.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with the Rocking Horse.
Right, it was the same
I
thing.
expected that. What we do generally, and I'll reiterate this to the board, because it's a minor revision, it's a major subdivision amendment, but it's a minor revision in that it's not like starting out with no houses on an open piece of property. and
I'll
beginning
repeat
a
again,
subdivision.
were this
All right
not,
there, we've been through this
Yeah.
Good.
just recently,
Good.
and you need to go to the land use ordinance.
I have,
And the
and we will.
definition of a major revision.
Okay.
you're using a trigger word, Jim.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening here.
It's not a worry. We'll get the right
It's
out.
minor in the sense of it shouldn't be a big deal.
Do it twice.
I think that's what you're saying. This is not a big deal.
Right,
But
we'll
it
just
is
amend the
by
application.
definition a major.
Understood, I'm not confusing the words.
That's all. We're conflating two items here.
All right.
Can we, has April already sent me a copy of the original findings of fact from the approval of the original subdivision?
I haven't seen that.
I don't know that I could find that.
And I missed that too?
So I did a little bit of research, like in the vault and out back and as well in the registry of deeds, and I was unable to locate, findings of fact. The only thing that I could find was the original survey from 1984.
Okay.
So if this was not approved by the planning board, maybe it doesn't have to be here at all?
Well, I wouldn't confuse the fact that you have a signed plan that's signed by the planning board. So
Ah, all
keep
right.
in mind, you all have a
Yeah.
different process.
Right? And the notes and all
Right.
comprise the findings perhaps
Right.
at that time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't until, well, I say recent, but it's more like
After
20 years.
1984. Yes, yeah.
You know,
Got
that,
it.
you know, that boards have
So-
started creating formal documents referred to as findings that get recorded.
Thank you.
That was cool.
Okay, you can take that back. as
Okay.
far as I'm concerned.
Yes, thank you for that.
So again, for subsequent meetings, we know we will be providing a high-intensity soil survey, for instance, and I need to have a second septic site on the lot and so forth, as it was in a subdivision. We will probably be looking, right now, the application says we don't anticipate waiver requests. If I'm gonna go through major subdivision and look at the details of that, we may be talking about a waiver request for traffic, because we wouldn't expect
Right.
4 or 6 traffic trips per day to make a doggone bit of difference to the traffic out on Arundel Road. Or we may,
If you look at the land use ordinance, the
I have.
only effects you have to look at, the only requirements are those that pertain to the new lot you're making,
right,
okay?
Yep.
You're at the end of a road already, so
right.
you're not going to have a traffic issue.
right.
So.
But I mean, I want to be able to prepare for official waiver requests if they're indicated. That's all I'm saying.
Look at what's important to the lot. You have a road planned, that's important. You have fire chief weighing in.
Right.
Basically, look for those things that are important to that particular lot in the subdivision. The subdivision, you know, if it were today, would already have a traffic plan and so forth.
Right,
So,
right.
It's very similar to what we just did with Woodside Road.
Okay. Again, I refer, my last one was the the
Yes.
Rocking Horse Stable property, which
Right.
was part of, that was a subdivision. I don't remember what the family name was on that one.
Yep.
And again, it was one family lot for a family member out of a great big, that was a 10-acre lot, and we needed 3 net, and we managed to do it. This one has even more gross lot area left over, but they've only asked for 1 additional lot, not 2. Probably enough land to support 2, but they really want to continue to maintain the feel of that piece of property just about the way it is, with the addition of 1 modest house out in that field.
you've got a lot of wetland in
There's a
there.
lot of wetlands, wet meadow.
I'm pretty certain that's why back in the day, they were 17 or 20-acre lots, but I'm here to say this is pretty typical of Kennebunkport, so.
But that's all you need to
If
do.
you get up on the edge of where the house is to go, and the house is about 8 feet above the stream, or about 7 feet up above where the stream is down in the hollow, and still about 5 to 6 feet above the wetland swale that they have to cross with the driveway. It's a pretty proud spot out there in the field.
It's on ledge then.
No ledge,
No ledge?
clay,
It's flat.
clay.
Deal.
It's a clay site, and that's what the old codes used to hammer. That's why the lots were always so massive, because it took a lot of land to find suitability for a septic. So,
Okay,
So, any other comments?
no.
Just a nit, I think,
Yep.
in the application per se, it says total acreage of parcel 20 acres.
yeah, I think my partner got that right off, he probably grabbed that off the tax map before we had Mike Coulombe's original,
So you checked
accurate
the
plan, whatever.
consistency.
We didn't see this survey plan until,
In the next issue.
I'm gonna amend the whole thing.
We'd be,
It's a whole different application when we
and
go to
then,
prelim.
just to clarify, the purpose of the subdivision is to allow for another single-family home on the 3-acre property, is that what I'm understanding? Because that didn't come through to me as I read this initially,
Again, if
that's all.
the application, again, is partly supported by this plan that refers to approximate proposed dwelling location on the 3-acre lot. So I'm in the hope.
That's how I came to understand.
We'll do our best to clarify
The only reason I'm saying that
the
is
wording.
if I look at, well, what do I have to worry about when I go down through the regs? Oh, does the driveway support 2 single-family homes, or 1, whatever, so. I said they were nits, but that's
That's no, I
kind of
want
where
to get
you're
it
coming
right.
here, right?
Okay.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay?
I'm good.
We good, folks?
So I just want to double check. So at the moment, Lot 3 is one lot in a 4-lot subdivision,
That's
right?
correct.
And you're going to split Lot 3 into 2 lots, so now you have a 5-lot subdivision.
You were paying attention.
Okay, just double checking. Thank you.
Thank you, I think.
Okay.
You're just making me look bad, Larry, just 'cause I couldn't figure that out.
Well, I'm just trying to keep track.
Hey, listen, you guys look at an awful lot of things, so I understand the need for clarity.
Yeah,
So
thank
let us do better in the next iteration. So
Yeah.
we'll come back with a preliminary plan
Yep.
and buff things up and hope to have sufficient information so that you feel it's complete.
Very good.
Thank
Okay?
you.
We thank you, board
Yeah.
members.
Thank you.
Okay. So, that brings us back to item number 2. 230201 Roberts Lane, JW Group, Joshua Waterhouse, and this is the finding of facts for this item, so.
Right, we approved this at the last meeting. This is the Kennebunkport Planning Board findings of fact and decision for the application of JW Group LLC / Joshua Waterhouse on Roberts Lane, Kennebunkport, Maine. Following a site plan review pursuant to the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance held on the 1st of March 2023 and a public hearing held on 15 March 2023, the Kennebunkport Planning Board makes the following findings of fact and conclusion and renders the following decision, subject to the conditions enumerated below. Finding of facts are as follows. 1, the applicant is the property owner, JW Group LLC, Joshua Waterhouse, the applicant, with a mailing address of P.O. Box 734 in Saco, Maine, 04072. 2, the property has a street address of Roberts Lane, Kennebunkport, Maine, 04046. 3, the property is identified as map 22, block 9, lot 1D on the municipal tax assessor's maps. 4, the property is in the free enterprise zone. 5, the applicant demonstrated a legal interest in the property by providing a warranty deed recorded in the York County Registry of Deeds, Book 17753, page 593 on the 16th of July, 2018. In addition, the applicant provided a release of the deed's restrictive covenant recorded in the York County Registry of Deeds, Book 17873, page 645 on 3 January 2019, and a certificate of compliance and release of restrictive covenants dated 1 August 2022. 6, the property comprises 165,756 square feet, which is approximately 3.8 acres per information provided by the applicant. 7, in an application dated 1 February 2023, the applicant proposes to construct a driveway off the existing road, Roberts Lane, to serve a new single-family home to be constructed on the property. 8, the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance, Section 240-6.14.c, requires planning board review and approval for private road / driveway serving 3 detached dwellings. A previous planning board review found that Roberts Lane met the requirements of Land Use Ordinance 6.14 and approved travel over Roberts Lane for a single-family home. Reference the findings of fact from 19 July 2006. This application seeks approval for access over Roberts Lane to a new structure on a subsequently created additional lot. Item 9. The applicant provided drawings for a hammerhead turnaround for emergency equipment to be incorporated into the proposed new driveway. In a letter dated 8 March 2023, Fire Chief John Everett provided his review and approval of the dimensions of the turnaround and provided guidance about its construction, use, and maintenance. Item 10, the applicant requested no submission or performance waivers from the requirements of the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance. 11, pursuant to the requirements of Article 10.10.a of the Land Use Ordinance, Guidelines for Decisions, the Planning Board shall approve a site plan application unless it makes a negative ruling on one or more of the following identified findings, which would otherwise compel denial. A, the proposed use meets the definition or specific requirements set forth in the land use ordinance and will be in compliance with applicable state or federal law. Finding yes. B, the proposed use will not create fire safety hazards and will provide adequate access to the site or to the buildings on the site for emergency vehicles. Finding yes. Item C, the proposed exterior lighting will not create hazards to motorists traveling on adjacent public streets and is adequate for the safety of occupants or users of the site and will not damage the value and diminish the usability of adjacent properties. Finding not applicable. Item D, the provisions for buffers and on-site landscaping provide for adequate protection to neighboring properties from detrimental features of the development. Finding not applicable. Item E, the proposed use will not have a significant detrimental effect on the use and peaceful enjoyment of abutting property as a result of noise, vibrations, fumes, odor, dust, glare, or other cause. Finding yes. F, the provisions for vehicular loading and unloading and parking and for vehicular and pedestrian circulation on the site and onto adjacent public streets will not create hazards to safety. Finding not applicable. G, the proposed use will not have a significant detrimental effect on the value of adjacent properties, which could be avoided by reasonable modification of the plan. Finding yes. The design of the site will not result in significant flood hazards or flood damage and is in conformance with applicable flood hazard protection requirements. Finding yes. I, adequate provision has been made for disposal of wastewater or solid waste and for the prevention of ground or surface water contamination. Finding not applicable. J, adequate provision has been made to control erosion or sedimentation. Finding yes. K, adequate provision has been made to handle stormwater runoff and or other drainage problems on the site. Finding not applicable. L, the proposed water supply will meet the demands for the proposed use or for fire protection purposes. Finding not applicable. M, adequate provision has been made for the transportation, storage, and disposal of hazardous substances and materials as defined by state law. Finding not applicable. N, the proposed use will not have an adverse impact on significant scenic vistas or on significant wildlife habitat which could be avoided by reasonable modification of the plan. Finding not applicable. O, the proposed use will not cause unreasonable highway or public road congestion. Finding yes. P, existing off-site ways and traffic facilities can safely and conveniently accommodate the increased traffic generated by the development as far away from the development as the effects of the development can be traced with reasonable accuracy. Finding not applicable. Conclusions. Article 10.10 of the Land Use Ordinance mandates that the Planning Board shall approve a site plan application unless it makes one or more identified findings that would otherwise compel denial, and as noted above, the Board makes no such findings. Decision, the site plan application identified above is hereby approved. Conditions of approval, if any, pursuant to Article 10.11 and 10.12E. 1. The applicant, pursuant to 10.12.E, shall notify the Planning Board prior to the transfer of rights to construct an approved project. 2. An applicant must record a copy of this decision and provide proof of such recordation in the York County Register of Deeds before any permit may issue or before any construction activity may commence. 3, the applicant shall comply with all the terms and conditions of the Town of Kennebunkport ordinances. And this is dated 5 April 2023 by the Kennebunkport Planning Board. That's it.
I move approval of that.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Yes, please.
so start. Obviously, Ed,
Yes, please.
Nina,
Yes, approve.
Tom approves.
Approve.
Approve.
Okay. I just, one thing on 45 Ocean.
Yeah.
I know a draft FOF has already come around. Maybe Ed, if you could like, produce a markup or something, suggest what
Sure,
additional words go for Scott?
Yeah.
Into it?
happy to do that.
Send it over to Scott.
Yeah, I will do.
Thank you.
You don't need it this minute, right?
I don't.
Tonight or tomorrow's okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime in the next couple of weeks is fine.
All right,
Yeah.
will do.
Okay, so we're signing, and once we've finished signing, we should, I'll take another motion.
Oh,
Thank you.
move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay. Agree, as soon as we finish signing, we are
Yeah.
adjourning.
Yes.
Yeah. that'd be
Approved
good.
pending
Approved.
signing.
Subject to that condition.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Yep,
Yeah,
all done.
We're off, I'll plug.
Yeah, or you can.